Morning, everybody. So this morning I wanted to talk about this term that's become very common in my world, which is called cultural competency. And I looked it up, and it turns out that it is a requirement of the Oregon Health Authority for basically all providers, physical and mental health providers, physicians, physician assistants, acupuncturists, advanced practice nurses, podiatrists, chiropractors, naturopaths, psychologists, and other health professionals, which includes all mental health professionals. And I want to take it even further. I think cultural competency may be a requirement for a healthy community or a healthy Sangha. And also that I think reflective meditation is a practice that can increase cultural competency. But what does this mean to be culturally competent? So, of course, I went and looked at different sources. The dictionary says, one dictionary definition that is, cultural competency means being aware of your own cultural beliefs and values and how these may be different from other cultures, and including being able to learn about and honor the different cultures of those you work with. And then I found another definition from the National Association of Social Workers. Cultural competency requires self-awareness, cultural humility, and the commitment to understanding and embracing culture as central to effective practice. I think that is what we're practicing. We're practicing self-awareness. I think we're practicing humility, that wearing away of my culture, my view, my way, what myself is better than others. And the last part of that is embracing culture. Sometimes that might be a high bar, but I think of it as rather than trying to erase cultural influences or get beyond them or transcend them. So I think it starts, well, I don't know if it starts, but a major component of that is being more aware of the culture or cultures that we come from and the culture and cultures that we live within now, which sometimes are very different and sometimes are very similar. And with that awareness, how they color or condition, really the lens through which we perceive so much. And I'm sure in this next sentence, I'm not going to cover it all, but things like how we perceive the people around us, what we value, what we devalue, what we eat, which actually has been a big deal for me at times, what we wear, how we speak, how we interact, what we think is acceptable, what we think is unacceptable, our mores, really the lens through which we perceive a lot of life. Though this lens is often unperceivable, and I had to use the metaphor of cataracts. I think I've used that before, but cataracts, they glow slowly, and we usually aren't even aware that we're seeing our world through such a cloudy, foggy lens until our eye doc says it's time for cataract surgery. And so we go and have it. And for a moment, and for a bit of time, our vision is kind of amazing. At least it was for me. I remember I was walking to the Sangha right after cataract surgery, and I saw a rose, and I like gasped because it was so beautiful. I didn't know that roses were so beautiful because, they'd gotten a little foggy and cloudy. But then now this is just what I'm used to and how I see the world. And it seems like my vision was always this way, but no, it's changed throughout my life and with surgery. So that's similar to cultural conditioning. It is the lens through which we see our world. This is why people like to travel, I think, because when we're in different cultures, at least when I am, I'm better able to see the cultural influences and biases that I live with, the lens through which I usually look. So back to cultural competency. The culture of reflective meditation is about growing slowly more aware of the many lenses through which we see our world and how we are in turn impacted by our world, because it's not just what we're seeing, but it's also how it's impacting us, changing us. So Linda said yesterday, we invite you to go into your life, build a self-container to know the conditions more fully, the wisdom that comes from conditionality, rather than aiming to go beyond conditionality to some, I'd like to say imaginary place, but other people wouldn't, but to some place where concepts and conditions drop away. And I'm going to paraphrase that. We invite you to go into your life and to build a self-container to know the cultural influences more fully, rather than aiming to go beyond cultural conditioning. And to become more aware of your cultural conditioning and develop humility around it, and learn and grow more curious about different cultures and different kinds of cultural conditioning. I think this leads to more diverse and vibrant communities of all kinds, including sanghas, and to richer inner worlds. And so with that, I will end my talk for this morning. And we'll meditate. We'll meditate